There's a reason that we as people enjoy opening a new gift, buying a new device, new clothes. We enjoy going on like a vacation. We enjoy when we have a break from school, like a holiday. We enjoy days off from work. There's a reason that we enjoy all of these things. And that reason is a little thing called novelty. Novelty is basically the experience that we have when we're exposed to anything that we have not been exposed to before. So say for instance, when I was younger and I had lived in Jamaica for my entire life, the first times when I would go to like the States or Canada or anywhere and I would see like tall skyscrapers or like expensive cars and different looking people than where I'm from, all this kind of stuff. And my experience that I would have whenever I'd go into these places and see these things is almost like a feeling of euphoria. And it's a feeling that I wouldn't want to lose because of just how good it felt inside. You know, it was such a break from normal life. And it was just such a nice feeling that I wouldn't want it to end. I also had this sort of feeling when I would go to like a hotel, you know, if I'd be like at a friend's house or something of that sort, right? And as I said, this thing is a thing called novelty. Everybody knows what novelty is. Everybody is like had that sort of feeling when they get something brand new. And it always wears off eventually, but we've all experienced that feeling. And so it's pretty common. Novelty, it's something that we can actually control. A lot of people have boring lives, and not even like I'm saying people's lives are boring, like people have self-proclaimed boring lives, very dreary, very monotonous. You know, they work, say for instance, a very boring job, or it doesn't even have to necessarily be boring, but it could just be so routine to them. And people don't necessarily look forward to like their day-to-day lives. They don't get excited to jump out of the bed and go to work or live their life or something like that. They don't get excited to go back home or something like that because it's just also normal and regular to them. A matter of fact, the novelty is the reason behind cheating, because of that sort of feeling where somebody is in a relationship for a long period of time, and the feeling of being in a relationship for a long time just feels so normal and so regular / jury to them that they end up saying, you know, like, I need something more. I'm not promoting this, by the way. I don't think you should cheat, but I'm just kind of explaining why I think at least that like a lot of people will be promiscuous in a relationship. But the reason I mention novelty in this is because I think novelty can play a very important role in changing like the way you see your life, the way you live your life, changing like your whole perspective on your own life. I've found that there's certain small shifts you can apply to your day-to-day life to just almost create a whole new experience that significantly increases the quality of your life. It can be very small things, like you can try out a new tube of toothpaste, you can try out a new soap, a new smelling deodorant, get a new bottle of cologne. If you're somebody that listens to music all the time, try to take a shower without listening to music. If you like watch YouTube videos when you eat, or every waking second of the day possible, try eat without watching a YouTube video. Try to go about your day without being bombarded with intense stimulus and just see how that feels. Listen to the thoughts that are going on inside of your brain and become one with them. I don't know, that sounds like super hippie-ish, but like, be mindful of how you're thinking. For people, say for instance, in a relationship, like I know that there are definitely people that, you know how people speak about like the honeymoon phases in relationships where people are so infatuated with one another in the beginning stages of when they meet, but then eventually as time passes and passes, that sort of burning romance tends to die out, like a dwindling flame basically. And so people stop going on like dates as often, they don't tell each other sweet things as often, and it kind of, not to necessarily say that the relationship is horrible, but that sort of burning fire that brought them together in the first place just isn't there anymore. And so even people like those, if you find that you and your partner don't find yourself going out on dates often, you don't find yourself, you know, maybe I won't go into like gruesome details, but if there's things that you aren't doing very often that maybe you think would benefit your relationship and benefit your connection with that person, and even just do wonders for yourself, try new things, it can significantly improve like just the quality of your life and how you perceive your day-to-day being. One of the things that I tried to implement in my routines in the past year, I would say there are two things, and it's meditation and journaling. And so in the mornings I would meditate for, it depends, like maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, and I'd follow that up with like a quick journaling session, maybe 15 to 20 minutes of journaling. And I find that this sort of practice allows you to be so much more mindful of your life Because what meditation does is it allows you to, basically through practice of meditation, you start to become more mindful of your thoughts. Because of sort of how meditation works, you have to focus on your breath, and any time a thought comes in, you return your focus back to your breath. And what that does is it trains you to be more aware of when thoughts enter your mind, compared to like normally where they just enter your mind without, almost like without you realizing, and that's why they can have such a negative impact on your emotions and ruin your day or ruin your mood. And so I do meditation, and then I also do journaling, where I speak about, you know, how I've been feeling in the past couple of days, new things I want to try, generally just kind of dumping my mind out to bring more mindfulness into play. Also, I find that something that like is a great novel experience for me is going out into nature. I'm a person that loves nature very much, and especially when I was in university, I would like sort of trap myself in my dorm room very often. Like I wouldn't leave, or if I wouldn't trap myself in my dorm room, I'd kind of just stick to like a very linear path throughout my days, from my dorm to the dining hall at school, to class, back to the dining hall, maybe to the gym, back to the dining hall, and back to the dorm. That's about it. And that would just be my routine day on day on day on day on day on day on. But then every time like I'd have like a tiny break where like maybe my family came, or I for some reason had a reason to leave the school ground and go out into, because the town/city that I live in now is a city called Kelowna. And every time I'd go out into the area and see how beautiful it is, like I almost forgot how beautiful the city is here, because I would just get so almost like encapsulated in my surroundings, in my environment, I would kind of forget that there's an entire world outside of there. I find that even I have this like phenomenon with like people, because I would be going in the same sort of places at school so often, and it'd be so linear, and I would never like deviate from it. Every time I'd go to like a different place on campus, like I'd go to the library, or say for instance I'd go to like a Walmart, or like I'd go downtown or something like that, and I would see different people. It was like, holy crap, there's like actual different people other than these people. And it may sound so strange and it may sound so weird, but this is like a serious phenomenon that I encountered. And then when I would see these like new people, it almost just like released this like feel good sort of chemicals inside my brain, and it just, as I said, significant increase in your, like, not significant increase, but it is enough of an increase in your quality of life to notice it at least. And so I said the reason I mention all of these things is because a lot of people find like their life is very boring, dreary, monotonous, and just, you know, they want to have more excitement in life. That's the reason why when people go on vacations and they go to hotels or they have holidays, like nobody wants to go back to work, nobody wants to go back to their home, nobody wants to go back to school, because it's like their day-to-day lives are so just, they're like, oh, I don't want to live that. But I think if something I'm still working on in my own life, but I definitely think if you work to make your day-to-day life more novel, you expose yourself to new things, to get new stimuli, you know, trying new foods, talking to new people, doing a new hobby, even like just getting a plant inside of your house, maybe getting a dog, something as simple as I mentioned earlier, getting a new bar of soap, something just, it can be anything, but just as long as it's something, it's a new stimulus, an attractive stimulus, because you can have new bad stimuluses as well, right? They're definitely like a stimulus that can be new to you and you're not like a fan of it. So anything like a new experience that is attractive to you, try it. And most people know the things that are attractive to them, or they at least could have the potential for being attracted to. I think it's a beneficial thing to try these things, and I think that there can be a significant increase in your quality of life. Maybe it may not be that you're the most happy camper on the planet, but I definitely do think that there can be an increase in the quality of your life. Yeah, that's pretty much all that there is to it. Yeah, I think just people overlook the effect of novelty. The only time that they kind of take note of it is when you buy something new, and then you kind of notice that sort of like high feeling you get from that first day that you get this item, to like a month later you kind of realize that it's kind of gone, and you're like, oh, where did that sort of high, where did that sort of rush go? But we don't realize that we can kind of employ this in our own life, not necessarily by spending money, but by just generally doing things differently in our day-to-day. Even if it's not going out into the world and doing something crazy, just maybe doing something slightly different, just changing it up just a little bit, as long as you're changing it up. And I feel that this can definitely defeat this feeling in your mind that time is just passing and every day is the same and boring and repetitive, because I know that feels like, and I know it's not necessarily a nice feeling. So if anybody out there is feeling like that, I feel like that's something that you can try, and I feel like it can definitely have a positive impact on you. So yeah, that's really all that there is to it. I think you should really try something new, try something different, just deviate from your daily routine a bit, and who knows what can happen. Maybe you'll just like it, and honestly, maybe you'll try it again. So anyways, that's all for today. It's been your boy Kazi, and I'm out.